You know what Virginia's known
Lovers.
for? Yes. Sure. Hence me, the lover. Cole, the lover. Welcome once again to Chill Filtered, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to. But you probably should. You probably are. Hey, we like you. That's not the only reason we like you, though. This episode we're drinking something really cool. It's a special release from Whiskey Del Bac out of Tucson, Arizona. We'll get to that history, we'll get to that background soon, but before we get into anything else, let's talk about some ways you can support us. We've mentioned this before. Hey, comment on our YouTube videos, those who are watching. We'd love comments, we'd love responding to them, but sometimes you think, maybe I got nothing to say. And that happens, I just want to say, hey, I appreciate you. I'm watching you. Hey, maybe you could say that too. Just leave a heart or, like a different color of something, a brown heart for whiskey.
Your favorite emoji or
your favorite emoji.
Link to a YouTube video of your favorite classic vine. Cole and I love classic vines.
Yeah, we do. I was thinking of one earlier. I forget what it was. I'll get to it another time.
Chrysler.
Why you always lying? Anyway,
yeah, that's
oh my gosh. But anyway, we love good old classic vines. And hit us up on our Discord. Reach out on Instagram or chillfilteredpodcast@gmail.com if you're interested in joining our Discord. We'd be happy for you to join. So that's the background, not the background. That's the business. Let's get into how things are going. Bryan. It's been 3 days since we last recorded.
I know. Yeah.
How's it been?
Not long.
Nah.
Yeah. No, it's been good though. Yeah, it's been good. We got a little storm rolling in tonight. So yeah, it's looking real nice and moody, cloudy out my window over here. I know. That's cool. The rare ones. It hasn't really been storming much at all this season. Just a little bit of rain here and there, nothing serious, but looks like maybe there's something blowing in. It's nice and dark outside. So I'm digging it.
That's how it goes in Arizona. It's like something's blowing in, and it's like could be haboob status, which for those who don't know, look up HABOOB, haboob, which is a meteorological phenomenon including a lot of wind and a lot of dust.
Yeah, basically a big dusty, sandy dust storm kind of thing. And actually, now that you mention haboobs, like none this year. Maybe one where it was a little hazy, but no like big ones, at least in my part of town.
You like pull off to the side of the road when you're driving kind of haboobs.
Yeah, like we've had the ones where you can hardly see 30 feet out the back window, but we haven't had any of those in maybe 2 years or so. Even last year there were like none.
When we lived there for the 3+ years we lived there, I don't think we ever got an official haboob while we were there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
we
there's some menacing photos on the interwebs of what they can really look like.
Yeah, one of the worst ones out of recent years, 2010. So like if you just Google it and you look up photos and you see some menacing photos, it's probably from this one.
Oh wow.
Where it was rolling in right as I was leaving work, and it was coming from like the southeast to the northwest. And I was driving west, heading home from work. And so I would and it was like a wall. A very clear cut wall. It wasn't just like suddenly like a hazy kind of a little bit. It was a wall. And so I would drive
dust and sand and
I would drive through the wall and like end up getting stopped at a stoplight, and then the wall would pass me. And then the light would turn green, and then I would drive back out of the wall again. And it was just like chasing me home the whole way. It was crazy.
Wow. No, it's scary too. I mean, it's like, the wind is crazy, but it's just all of a sudden like, it's just crazy.
And when you see it coming, you're just am I supposed to like go underground right now or something? Like
it's apocalyptic. Yeah, it's crazy. No, that's fun. I love a good storm. When I lived in Colorado, it had winter Phoenix weather in the summer, if that makes any sense. Like the type of weather you get in the winter in Phoenix, you get in the summer in Colorado Springs. Although there are a lot more like thunderstorms, but they last 15 minutes in the afternoon. and then the streets are dry within 20 minutes after.
Dang.
Yeah, it's just like downpours, and then it just sucks right back up.
Yeah,
It's
that's
pretty
quick.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so in Kansas growing up, it
Oh
was
wow.
great because like
Uh-huh.
summer evenings, more often than not, there'd be just like thunder rolling in the distance,
Yeah.
and plenty of times when it's just something that's way off in the distance, and you get to just like watch it from really far away and see the
Yeah.
huge like anvil shaped like thunder clouds, and
Yep.
like just hear the thunder way off in the distance. And plenty of times when it was actually storming on you too, but yeah, definitely miss those. I really miss when it would thunder and lightning with no rain, because
Yeah.
that's cool. You get to like
I
not be
love that.
drenched, and you can be outside and out and
You can
about, and
see
you hear all this
clearly.
thunder and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I love thunderstorms. When I
Mhm.
was a kid, well, so on the East Coast, it's very different. For those who have been to both sides of the Mississippi, basically, uh, the sky is not large on the East Coast. I think it might be trees. I don't know what it is. I've tried to like quantify it, how it doesn't really work when you go west of the Mississippi versus east of the Mississippi. Um, but there are a lot of there's a lot of sky west of the
Right.
Mississippi where we are. So
Big
when I was a
sky
kid,
country.
yeah, exactly. When I was a kid, my whole family took a trip we were driving out to Yellowstone, and we stopped in like central Montana near Bozeman.
Mhm.
And I, to this day, it's probably one of the most like top 5 most beautiful things I've ever seen was watching a thunderstorm in the distance from Montana. I mean, they call it big sky country because it's like
Yeah.
it just doesn't end. It's crazy. But like where I'm at, it's like there's a horizon everywhere, and it's not the actual horizon. It's trees, or it's just something.
Yeah.
But it was like I got this is how I met Robbie in the end. Robbie Dedlow was that I started when I was in college. I was like, hey, I want to like find a job in that area. I want to find a job in like Montana or something like that. And so I started to apply to certain jobs in Montana. And one guy I talked to was like, hey, you should try this other company in Idaho. And it's not a company, it was a church. I worked for a church for a while. But he was like, try out this other church in Boise and
Mhm.
apply to like an internship kind of thing there. And that's how it worked out, because it was like, and I was like, I'll take Idaho, not just Montana,
Yeah.
especially if there was a kind of a cool opening. And that's how me and Robbie met in 2011.
Dang.
Um,
Long time
I,
ago.
yeah, we were part of the same church. He was going there at the time, and that's how I met him the first day I came to Idaho. It was fun, but yeah,
Nice. Well, you heard it here first, folks.
mm-hmm.
Cold-a-ho. Cold-a-ho. Yeah.
Cold-a-ho, Udaho.
Daho.
Yeah.
You were talking about like, man, it's one of the prettiest things I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I have a memory like that too.
Mm-hmm.
I was with a buddy driving to the airport, just like middle of nowhere, Kansas, because we were
Mm-hmm.
headed from Manhattan, Kansas
Okay.
to like the Kansas City airport.
Yeah.
So we were driving between cities, and there was
Mm-hmm.
nothing out there. And it was like 5 a.m. or something. It was super
Uh-huh.
early, and there was no one else on the road. And there are in that part of Kansas, there are a lot of hills, not
Mm-hmm.
not not at all big hills, but just like rolling little hills.
Yeah.
And the sun was like barely starting to come up. There was
Mm-hmm.
like fog everywhere down on the ground, but it was like little hills popped up
Uh-huh.
out of the fog and then went back down into the fog. So all the low
That's
areas were
cool.
covered in fog and you couldn't see the ground, and there were these like little hill islands, and
That's
there
sweet.
weren't any clouds in the sky except way off in the distance that I was looking at all the fog in the rolling hills. There was
Mm-hmm.
one cloud sticking up like my hand here, like a Loch
Mm-hmm.
Ness monster head
Oh, interesting.
above the horizon. It was just like a
Uh-huh.
Loch Ness monster head above the horizon. That was a
So
cloud.
she
And I
is
was like,
real.
I could have pulled over and taken a photo, but my buddy was like asleep in the passenger seat, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
it's kind of weird. I don't want to like wake him up and be like, I really want to take a photo. And to this day, I like seriously regret not stopping and
Oh,
taking the
that's rough.
photo. It was insane.
One time I was driving in Kansas. Well, technically, I had passed. What do they call it? Colorado. You ever heard of that?
Yes.
It's like the border of Kansas and Colorado.
Right.
And as I just passed from Kansas into Colorado, the sun was to the west, so I was facing the sun or driving into the sun, and then in the rear view mirror, it was like dark. Not only because it was kind of ending the day, because it was like towards sunset,
Mhm.
but on top of that, there was a storm and there was a lot of like rain starting to pour down behind me. And I took this picture. I pulled over because I was driving alone. Pulled over, took a picture of this rainbow that happened, and it was so cool because the rainbow was lit up with a dark background. So it was like
Oh,
black
that's
sky,
cool.
bright rainbow, and a full rainbow to the ground on both sides because the sun was right on the horizon in front of me. So it
Yeah,
was kind of cool.
that's
I'll have to send you
awesome.
that photo. Yeah.
But it wasn't a double rainbow all the way?
It really was. I mean, they say typically rainbows are double rainbows all the way, but it was so beautiful. It means something.
I was like,
Yeah.
Come on, I know you
Yeah.
know."
Mhm. But if you
It's
really
starting to look
look,
like a
next time you look at
triple
a rainbow,
rainbow.
they're usually double rainbows, but this one
Oh,
is just
really?
more faint.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got you. That makes
Double
sense.
rainbow all the way. Speaking of which, the guy that does those like remixes of those things, like the guy that did
Oh,
the
yeah.
they climbing in your windows, snatching your
Yeah.
people up. Like that guy, he does a great job on those videos.
I have definitely seen the double rainbow one of that too.
You
Yeah.
see the corn one? The corn kid?
The corn kid? Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
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 Man, that was a quick sensation. The corn kid
They
thing
always
lasted
are.
like
Yeah.
2 weeks and then just like
Mhm.
absolutely nothing afterwards.
For me, I just really like corn. Yeah. Yeah, it's good
So
stuff.
passionate about corn.
Mhm.
He's gonna
You gotta love
grow into a
passion.
bourbon drinker someday.
Yeah, the greatest crop, the best crop of the US. I mean, you're from Kansas, you should know.
There is some corn in Kansas, although corn isn't
What's Kansas
necessarily
known for?
wheat.
Wheat. That's cool.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what Virginia's known for?
Lovers.
Yes. Sure, sure. Hence me, the lover. Cole the lover. But Virginia has like a main, they have a few crops, but they have like a crop, you know what I mean? Take a guess.
Yeah.
Something you
Tobacco.
might like. Tobacco, you're right.
Hey, I was like,
Yeah.
somehow that just came to me. Maybe you've talked
Yep.
about it before. I can't remember.
Like Virginia and North Carolina are known for their tobacco crops, yeah.
Nice.
And I guess, Kentucky's got some of that too, but I mean we talked about that with John Hughes, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of like
Oh, yeah.
Philip Morris, the conglomerate that owns like Marlboro and all that stuff. They are based in Richmond, Virginia. Yeah.
Hmm. Because of, well, I guess probably because that's where they
That's where
originally
yeah.
started. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
it's funny, they what do you call it? They give a lot of not grants. They give a lot of, I guess, grants to the local university, Virginia Commonwealth University, to
Yeah.
do basically, like, in my opinion, it's probably shady research. Like they basically paid VCU like a ton of money to prove that vaping was bad for you. And they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, we know smoking's bad for you, but we really want people to also know that vaping is bad for you. So they come back to cigarettes. Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of
Sounds
stuff. It's funny. Yeah.
right. Sounds
And
scummy.
apparently, as a company, they give you 1 or 2 cartons a week for free as a employee.
Yikes.
Of yeah, so and people can smoke still in the on the job at Philip Morris. Yeah, my
Yeah.
friend worked there as an accountant, and he was like, I just felt weird about working there. I just
Yeah. Like,
didn't want to like I was supporting people's bad habits, and I like the work that I did was not always like world beneficial, and so he quit
right.
eventually. And
Yeah. It's like, instead of a couple of those, you said cartons, right? It's
yeah,
like,
like
can
full
you just give
cartons.
me
Yeah,
$50 instead?
yeah. That'd be sweet, or just sell them on eBay or something like that. You can't really do that, but why don't we? I think we've gone a decent long, just talking about weather and big skies and cigarettes and everything like
Love it.
that. Why don't we scooch it over to our next segment of the show, but not before taking a quick walk break. We'll be right back. What a nice walk break. What a nice time. Some notes to get to before we get into the history this week. Shout out to all who joined us for Chill Filter's Drink Along. We drank the Rare Character Exceptional Series. Malt? No, it was, I forget what it was. I got to
look. Kentucky Straight Malt.
Kentucky Straight Malt. I bet it was amazing. The next 3 months samples are coming soon. Do you want to explain? You want us to say what we're doing?
Yeah. Let's say because they're coming soon. Let's do it.
JT Mellick's Legacy Bottling. This is the one that they aged. What was it? 7 years?
I don't remember. I was gone that episode.
Extra aged JT Mellick rice whiskey. So I was like, dude, we got to get this for a drink along. And shout out to Mia from JT Mellick / Fruget. She made it work for us. She was like, originally it was kind of hard to pull off to get that bottle, but she made it work. So shout out to Mia. She's amazing. Check out Fruget / JT Mellick online, or if you're ever in the Branch, Louisiana area, highly recommend dropping by their place. So, and keep an eye out for the courier because September is a new month of the next 3 months. So yeah, JT Mellick, Stag Junior, not Stag. It's just Stag. What is it? 23B,
23C actually.
23C baby. And then we also have a Old Forester single barrel proof rye. So keep that out. Some really great bottles. And hey, if you're on the fence about maybe supporting us on patreon.com/chillfiltered, just think, I could drink along, not only drink great pours that are very unique and special and allocated typically, you can drink them with us because we do once a month, we do the drink along, where we do a YouTube live and we have everyone's commenting in and having a good time. And we have a lot of fun with our listeners, especially our Patreon peeps. So check us out, patreon.com/chillfilter. Anyway, considering Whiskey Del Bac is a growing distillery, I like to use the word growing instead of smaller or micro or anything like that. It's surprising that we've already done 9 episodes on these amazing whiskeys from Tucson, Arizona. This is our 10th episode featuring Whiskey Del Bac, and we are definitely fanboys of them. So it makes sense. But anyway, it's been about 9 to 10 months since our last Whiskey Del Bac episode, which was Ode to Isla Batch 2. So we'll cover basic history and talk about what makes their bottled and bond release so special. So started by a great man named Stephen Paul, who we've had on the podcast. If you're interested, check out episode 125, almost 4 years ago. Anyway, he started the distillery in 2006 in Tucson. Stephen Paul owned a boutique furniture shop since the 80s. He worked apparently with a lot of mesquite wood because the furniture incorporated a lot of the local wood. And Southwest is known for their mesquite, among other plants, such as prickly pears and all that stuff. But the story is that he was barbecuing some meat with mesquite wood one day with a glass of scotch in his hand. He and his wife thought, what if, instead of using peat in the malting process of barley, you used mesquite wood instead? Very smoky, very flammable, all these things. And that's where it all began. And he set out to make a single malt whiskey representative of the American Southwest and Sonoran Desert. Shout out to Jim Mathwig and fam, who are also a part of the American Southwest Sonoran Desert. Because isn't the Sonoran, I don't know if you know this, but I think the Sonoran Desert starts south of Phoenix, but I might be wrong.
I'm furiously Googling. If you
furiously Google, let me know.
Oh yeah, it looks like the Sonoran Desert extends down into Mexico.
Yep.
It looks like maybe the Phoenix area is just barely on an east corner of it, but it extends into California too. It's just kind of all around there.
Yeah, they there's actually, you know how certain states like are thinking about making like there are certain petitions to make more states. One of them is like
Oh,
North and South California.
wow.
There's also a not a Portland, Oregon thing where it's like most of Oregon isn't Portland, but some of it is. And so
Yeah.
there's a thing there, but there's also another big one, which is in Arizona, splitting it up around the Sonoran boundary and saying
Huh.
like North Arizona and like whatever, the Sonora or something like that. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, look it up. Apparently, what started originally with a 5-gallon copper pot still turned into a 500-gallon distillery with their own malt house for the barley making or the barley process, and they've only gotten bigger and bigger and more notoriety too. And they took on Mark Viertaler as their head distiller a few years back, and things have been cranking. So to remind everyone how traditional Scotch peating works, you soak the barley grain for a little bit, then you let the grain start to grow and like sprout as if you're growing it to become a barley stalk. Then you quickly cut off the growth process by heating the malting grain before it actually starts forming roots and all that. But traditionally in Scotland, they do this heating process in a combination of, or one or two ways, if not a combination of both, with peat moss or with charcoal. They burn it in a room as like an oven, but that's at least traditionally. I'm sure there are some, you know, distilleries in Scotland that are using like electric or gas ovens or something like that, which is fine.
Probably.
But traditionally, it was like charcoal or peat.
Mhm.
And I'm sure, or basically, they then mill and mash the dried malted grain, which might pick up a few characteristics of the smoke from the heating process. And they use it to ferment and distill whiskey with, because malted barley has more sugar eating properties when it comes down to the fermentation of things. That's apparently why a lot of people do malted barley. And that's why most bourbons have malted barley, because malted barley has an enzyme in it that eats sugar, that helps with the fermentation and the yeast eating the sugar more. It breaks
Mhm.
down the sugar of other grains better.
Mhm.
But talk about terroir, using your natural environment to make your whiskey special. And although not all of their whiskey is mesquited, they do take advantage of the desert heat in the aging process, and it seems to work wonders for them. If I remember correctly, Whiskey Del Bac is known to use smaller 22-gallon barrels for most of their products. I used to be a hater on those small barrels, and to be honest, it was Whiskey Del Bac that changed my mind on small barrels. It was just a matter of pulling the whiskey at the right time, it seemed. And from my interview episode with Stephen Paul and the at that time distiller Veronica Townsend, it seemed like 14 months was their sweet spot for Dorado and the Classic. But that's kind of what sets up the whiskey we're drinking today. Bottled in bond, which is what we're drinking, the Classic Bottled in Bond, has requirements by the U.S. government. This is the quote from their little pamphlet thing. Yeah, there we go. It says a whiskey must originate from a single distillery produced in a single season and aged for a minimum of 4 years in federally bonded warehouse and bottled at 100 proof. This is actually a very old law, almost 130-year-old law, basically, that was from the Bottled and Bond Act of 1897. This was a way to prevent illegitimate whiskey from being sold as whiskey. If the government got involved, we could have a little more confidence in the spirit we're drinking. But 4 years is hugely different than 14 months. I assure you, 48 months in a 22-gallon barrel probably would have had a bad impact on their distillate. Or, you know, anything they were putting in there probably would have overdone it at 4 years at 20, especially in that desert heat.
Yeah, no
So I
kidding.
reached out to Mark Viertaler, head distiller, and he told me, yes, they used, for this release, they used 53-gallon barrels, kind of the standard, even just bourbon barrels in general, the standard. One was from Barrel Mill, and the other one was from Kelvin Cooperage. Medium toast and number 3 char. So it is charred. I like that. If you're not familiar, bigger barrels means less surface area per volume of whiskey. This is a good standard for most, as aging can't be sped up. People say it's sped up the aging. It's a little weird to say that because aging can't really be sped up. The effects of aging can change, but bigger barrels offer a great way to age longer without overdoing the effects of whiskey. So anyway, this is 100 proof. Also a requirement of the Bottled and Bond Act, if you want to call it Bottled and Bond, any whiskey. But so anyway, I guess to my last point, having a larger barrel allows us to be aged 4 years at least. This is the classic. This is the unsmoked, unmosquitoed distillate. So don't expect smoky here. This is similar to the style of a Highland or Speyside Scotch. I did ask Mark if he found this was almost an experiment for them. I asked him, did you find the results encouraging on the use of large barrels, leading to potentially more use of large barrels in the future? He said, quote, all caps, very. And then he said, normal caps, encouraging. I also asked, hey, are we hoping for maybe a Dorado release of a Bottled and Bond? And he said, fingers crossed.
Nice. Awesome.
So, yeah. And then total wine price. I don't know if it was sold at Total Wine. I think it was probably distillery only or online. Because you can still buy it online.
Didn't see it at Total Wine. Yeah.
Yeah. 120 per bottle. And there were only 500 bottles released. So let's pour it out. I've been entry buzzing on Dorado standard.
Yeah, and I did a fall distiller's cut that they came out with last year.
Nice.
I don't remember the specifics around that, but it was just a Del Bac thing I had laying around that I haven't had in a really long time.
So quick shout out to the distillery, Whiskey Del Bac, and Jana and Mark for helping us out get these samples. We appreciate that. I'm giving it the cork pop, but rather the crack of the sample bottle.
I remember. So I toured Del Bac.
You what?
See. I toured. Yeah, haven't you heard of what a tour is? This guy doesn't even know what tour means. December, back in December last year, I toured Del Bac.
Nice.
Feels so weird.
I feel dirty.
Yeah, I tore Del Bac to pieces, and they had two extremely large barrels, and it had to be them, right? And I was looking through my photos.
Were they 53-gallon barrels, or were they like sherry butts? You know what I'm saying?
So I think they were sherry butts, because sherry butts are bigger than 53-gallon barrels, right?
I can't tell you exactly, but I do know they drive me nuts.
Yeah, I'm not about to Google butt size, but
there's a whole cask sizes. Look up that.
Oh, okay, all right.
And a butt will be in there, as well as like a pipe and a ton, like a butt ton.
Yeah. They had a wall of what I think are 53-gallon barrels, and they're all barrels from other places that I think they were, I don't know, doing secondary finishes in or something for fun.
Makes sense,
but then there were
a lot of that.
There were two just absolutely gigantic barrels off to the side, so I might have to investigate that further. But unfortunately, I did not take pictures of those because I'm crazy.
That's crazy.
We
almost didn't take a lot of. Oh, I guess you took a lot of pictures when we were at A. Smith Bowman, which is good because I forget to take pictures all the time.
And I not even pictures. I took a bunch of videos as we were just walking around.
It was awesome.
So this has a very fruity nose to me, and it's kind of like it's not too dark, it's not too light, it's pretty mid, and I think cherry is what I'm honing in on.
Yeah, cherry. At first, I was thinking a tiny bit of orange peel.
Yeah, I like it. A little oily. Yeah.
Very pleasant, very different than the nose that I'm getting on the Dorado, but even when you take out the mesquited smokiness, it is I feel like it's really well aged on the nose. I love the nose. It's very different though than what I remember the classic to be. I think the classic was a little more sweet. This is a little more like not savory, that's not the word I'm looking for, but a little more like floral as opposed to sweet, if if that makes
I
any
like a
sense.
little bit of floral with the fruit. Yeah, I think you got me with the like orange peel kind of thing. As
Mm-hmm.
I'm nosing now, it's not a juicy fruit that I'm getting. It's more of a bitter fruit that I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
that you would get from like an orange peel or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What is the Dorado proofed at? 90. And I think the classic is too. Great palate. You worry. Like every time I sip a new Whiskey Del Bach product, I'm like, I worry if this is not keeping up to the standard that I have been living in the Whiskey Del Bach, products. Everything they put out is amazing. But they're all different, and that's the cool thing is like, whether it's Frontera or Ode to Isla, Normandy, or even just the cast strength single barrels of Dorado and stuff like that. There's always different. Um, but it's always good. And I don't know how they do it. Like it's so good. But I do love this. Um, I'm gonna hit some more notes, but I gotta say, so far I'm impressed, especially for an American single malt. Not
Yeah.
here's let me phrase this word or differently. Doesn't surprise me that this is amazing. I'm glad it's amazing because everything they do is pretty great. So
Yeah. The nose to the palate transitioning. Not a
mm-hmm.
lot of fruit on the palate that I'm getting so far, but the primary note on the palate is like a buttery oaky.
I can see that.
It's more oaky than buttery, but it's got great viscosity,
Mm.
and the viscosity lets the finish last a really, really long time.
Mm.
And the through the palate, through the finish, it's just all a semi-sweet oak with a very, very light peppery that's holding
Yeah.
on as the finish just develops and
I think
develops.
that's some of the proof
Um,
too. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, so I was like, "What's the proof?" It's bottled in bond, so it's 100 proof.
Ew.
But yeah, I think the number one thing I'm already impressed with is how long the finish is,
Mm.
and it is extremely oaky. No, no, hold on, it's not extremely oaky. It just has a lot of oak there that
Yeah.
does not venture into tannic territory at all. It's not mouth drying at all.
That's
Makes me
true.
wonder. Makes me wonder what the cast strength, how like maybe
That's a
potentially
good point.
tannic and mouth
Yeah.
drying it is, but at the proof that it is, the oak stays very, very pleasant and sweet and is the primary note throughout.
Mm. Yeah, oak is definitely there. And I would say like typically what I remember of classic is that it was floral, sweet, but like sweet was the big word here. Floral, sweet, and fruity. Um this is definitely more deep, depthful. There is notes here that you can tell it was aged longer. Like there's almost I wouldn't say even the classic or the Dorado is like youthy, which is weird for a 14-month-old whiskey typically. But this is not youthy. This is developed in flavor.
Yep.
Not that, yeah, like I said, the other ones weren't youthy, but compared to this, they were. But they weren't bad.
Yeah.
Um, Oak is there, and you're right. It's almost on the verge of like dry your mouth out, but it's not there yet.
Yep. Totally agree. The second sip, feeling a lot more of heat and spice now on the finish. But it serves to have a nice, frankly, for 100 proof, a powerful finish
Mm-hmm.
that I
Yeah.
wouldn't have expected from something at 100 proof. It really, really holds on for a surprising amount of time because of that spice. Did you
Um,
add some water?
yeah, and the nose is better, man.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
poured a
it's
little
like
bit for water because actually I was like, maybe I
uh-huh.
don't want to put too much water in, blah blah blah. But I was like, no, I really want to give the water pour
You
a
gotta give it a
serious
whirl.
yeah.
Literally. What are these? A little bit of apricot, little bit of the orange peel. Definitely malty on the nose.
Yeah, malty. Yeah, I'm seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think creamy malty is. I'm not seeing so much of the fruit. I mean, in general, it is kind of the same, but no distinct fruit really popping out at me now. Look, even with water, can you see these legs? Can you see that?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to.
I see
There
it.
are, this might go with the whole orange peel thing we were talking about earlier too. Like this does seem oily in a really good way. Yeah, like they
So
don't chill
go ahead.
filter, right?
I don't think they do. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But
Yeah,
they do
so
love chill filtered.
yeah, they do.
Have since
So thank you.
2020, baby.
Yeah, shout out to Del Bach. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Cheers. Sip it right
Yeah,
now, dude. This is amazing.
yeah.
Sorry.
I'm still
Yeah,
like
it's so
marveling
good
at
with
the
water.
legs that are holding onto the glass here. It's
Yeah, they really are.
little bubblegum nose, actually. If I said one
Okay.
thing on the nose with water, I'll say bubblegum.
I'm gonna wait till you sip and develop some notes before I say what I thought on the palate, but I prefer it with water. Really good. That creamy note you were talking about, almost like, oh man, I just opened it up to me with the viscosity helped. It helped with the viscosity. Brings out almost on the finish, not on the palate, but on the finish. There's the slightest orange creamsicle note.
I cannot believe I did not think of that because I was sitting here and I was thinking vanilla frosting with a little bit of
Mix
something.
that with orange.
And then you said orange creamsicle, and I'm like,
yeah,
I don't think I've had my mind blown by a tasting note more than that in a really long time.
that might maybe get a bottle before they sell out. Like that note alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, if they don't,
maybe our listeners will buy it before I do.
Nah, because we got the jump on them. This doesn't come out for a couple days.
Yeah, that's a good point. We got like 5 more days.
Yeah, this is cool, man. Especially,
with water. Like
if you're already a Del Bach homer, if you already like Del Bach, you got to get in on this experience.
It's true.
Because like this is such a new, really cool thing that they've done here that even if you just like Del Bach, you're going to want to have this on your shelf.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice mixture. Like orange creamsicle is typically just a mixture of oranges and vanilla. And that's what I'm getting here. Yeah.
Yep. And like that thickness, like a milky thickness. I think because I'm not necessarily getting like vanilla bean kind of stuff. I'm more getting like a milky creamy than
like an icing
vanilla. Yeah.
I'm giving it the old Spin J with an ice cube in there.
Good. I poured a little more for ice, but then I was like, I want to take one more neat sip before I put ice in this. So try that one more time.
It's nice of them to send 100 ml samples because that means we get to save one for the reentry buzz pool.
Yes, which I have poured already. The that neat pour, going back to it, has the pepperiness that I mentioned earlier. The water pour did not have the peppery.
That's true. That cleared it up.
I enjoyed the water pour more than the neat pour, actually. Yeah.
Dude, this nose on the ice pour is pure orange creamsicle, which I wasn't getting on the other two.
Now that you got that thought in your head.
Oh, it's good. All right, let's sip it up. Sip it up with the ice.
I'm swirling over here. A lot of oak on the nose with ice. I'm searching for orange, but I'm not honestly seeing too much orange on the nose with ice. But like, actually, I get a more leathery kind of deal on the nose with ice.
I'm not getting that. Maybe I iced too much. But I will say this. Here, you sip, and then I'll tell you what I think.
Oh my God, this is blowing my mind with ice.
Oh, with the palate?
Yeah, on the palate.
Okay.
This might be one of the most surprising viscosities with ice I've ever had. I cannot, with ice, I absolutely cannot fathom that this is 100 proof with
Dude,
ice.
Look at the legs with the ice.
I don't even see legs yet because it's all holding on.
Yeah.
It's all very uniformly holding on after I swirl with ice. It's insane. Oh my gosh. I'm absolutely buying this.
Do you prefer it with ice?
I'm still formulating, but it's absolutely up there. Hang on.
So there's not a syntheticness, but it's a little too opened up for me with the ice. Prefer like I'd say it would go water, neat, ice for me in order of appreciation. Just because it probably maybe I added too big a piece or something like that, but it opened it a little too much up and I don't even know how to describe it. It's just that's opened it up too much and just made it a little too watery.
Gotcha. I think I'm water ice neat actually, which is insane for me to put neat last. It's a very close call either way. I'm not saying neat's bad or anything, but the ice is so fun. Like this is a summertime sipper with ice. This is delicious. I would drink this by the pool with ice. I do get the orange creamsicle on the palate with ice. The viscosity absolutely holds with ice. It just makes it like fun. It's just fun with ice. And so I love that funness. I think best overall is water though, from a like good whiskey standpoint.
Yeah. Whenever, if I'm getting a bottle of this, if it's probably going to be dranketed with a few drops every time. Like that was, it was like neat was good. Don't get me wrong, but the ice was like to an extent better, to a decent extent better.
Yeah. And best part about it is you can pour yourself a neat pour, take a sip or two, and then add water to always remind yourself like, okay, wow, the water really is.
So need to get myself $120 quick.
I know, right? Yeah, go hustle. Get out to that street corner, Cole, because you a hoe, right? As we discussed.
To the truck stop. What was I thinking? All right. Let me think about it. Let me sip it one more time with a little bit of water.
Nice. I'm all out.
My rating.
I'm all out. Okay, so I'll formulate rating as I on the fly here.
Okay.
But I need my letter scores here. I'll think number score first. I think I would peg this. Okay, well, so we haven't even said the word hubba to what in so long.
We haven't.
I think that this hubs my what's because I would give this a 9.0. This surprised me so much. This deserves that, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is that good score. So this gets that like original rating scale score of 9.0. I'm looking through my letter scores now. Extremely solid, well-rounded, no substantial negative comment. I mean, I can't make any negative comments about this. So this totally is at the A level for me. It's not even A minus. This is an A. It's not an A plus because it's, I guess, lacking some complexity of different types of notes. It doesn't take me on a journey. A plus whiskeys give me a little bit of this fruit and a little bit of that something, and maybe recall a memorable experience in my life kind of stuff. So I think I'll give this just that extremely solid note, nothing negative A.
That's cool. Yeah, I give it an A as well. I'm gonna give it on the number score. I'll give it a 9.2. Yeah, I love that orange creamsicle note. Makes it a very special whiskey in that way. I think it's great. It did hub into my what's because, and that's hard to do when I already thought it's Whiskey Del Bac. It's probably going to be amazing.
Right.
I feel like there's more risk in this situation than typical Whiskey Del Bac because this is a very different process in terms of at least age. But yeah, they nailed it. Another one down. Whiskey Del Bac, keep it up.
Yep.
Yeah, we love them. So yeah, 9.2A. Really good.
They got
Actually, I highly recommend, check it out, whiskeydelbac.com or something like that. I actually have the website here, so don't quote me yet.
yeah, they do ship to other states and
Yeah,
everything too. So
they
it's
do.
worth
Yeah, I've
looking
shipped it
into.
to Virginia before, which is pretty hard to do. So check
Nice.
them out. You can go to shop.whiskeydelbac.com. That's whiskey with an E, DELBAC. Or look them up on Google. But they got a cool label too. It's kind of like a cloudy blue background on this label. I like
The
it.
dark labels always look good. I mean, like this the fall release here, the distiller's cuts usually have like a blackish label here, and it's like a deep stormy blue on there. And here I am drinking it on a deep stormy day here with the dark clouds rolling in and everything. So
near
it's
the
all coming
Sonoran
together.
Desert.
Yeah, they need to bottle that Dorado in bond though, please. I'm excited for that now too.
I mean, do you remember what the Ode to Isla bottle looks like? It's pretty cool.
Do I remember? Do I remember what it looks like?
Oh, he remembers. And it's got these
YouTube
cool little,
viewers.
like, what do you call them? Like, almost embossments on it.
So yeah, it is shimmery. I wonder if my lights in this room.
I
Oh,
don't
I
think it's
get it to shimmer on that
Oh,
on
the
the
moon
moon
is, or
right
the
there.
sun
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, beautiful light color, and I feel like in general, some of their stuff is usually light color like this, like the Normandy, and the other one is like an orangey shimmeriness, and this is a blue shimmeriness.
And this one's got the gold on just the Dorado.
The gold.
Keep it up, Whiskey Del Bac. We love you guys. It always makes me happy when they keep outdoing themselves. I mean, this probably doesn't beat Ode to Isla, but for an experiment, it's killing it.
I'm doing it. Here we go.
Do it straight from the bottle.
Ode to Isla is more punchy, flavorful, a little hotter, of course. It's
like
got
107
the proof
or something, right?
Yeah. The smokiness rolls and rolls into the finish.
Can't wait for this winter's release.
Yeah. Okay. Bottle and Bond Summertime Sipper, Ice Cube Awesome, Water Great too. Ode to Isla is your wintertime sipper. Ode to Isla is your sitting around
the
a
original winter release.
Yeah.
That's cool. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I got a Ode to Isla right there.
Beautiful.
Now that we've gone over ratings, I think it's time for our next segment of the show. A segment we like to call Whiskey World News.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We got Whiskey World News here. I want to read you an article from Breaking Bourbon, and it is called, I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit, but it is called Space Bourbon's Final Frontier. You know, if you've been watching Chill Filtered, you know we love a good...
We talk about space and whiskey a lot.
We do talk about space and whiskey a lot. We love a good space whiskey article, but this article today has broadened my horizons because I've found a new distillery that I love very much, and I've already reached out to, by the way. Hopefully maybe we could do an episode on them in the future. So Space Bourbon's Final Frontier, blasting off with Mile High Spirits Strato Whiskey. Mile High Spirits. So there's a distiller called Mile High Spirits in Denver, Colorado. They put out several limited release whiskeys throughout the year, and this week they're putting out a limited release called Strato Whiskey. Strato, like stratosphere. Strato.
Like the stratosphere.
I know, right? So what makes Strato Whiskey special is that part of its aging process took place in space. Well, not quite. It took place in the stratosphere about 20 miles up. And so it turns out there's a lot of precautions you need to take when sending a barrel of whiskey 20 miles into the air. So they partnered with a company called Worldview, which uses balloons to send instruments and experiments high into the atmosphere. And they sent up the largest volume that the balloon would allow, which was a 3-gallon barrel. And, and so sending this
Nice.
3-gallon barrel up, they had to seal the outside of the barrel with a special wax to prevent the whiskey from seeping out and ruining other stuff that was on board. And
Nice.
additionally,
No angel share here.
yeah, out of fear of the whole barrel just like breaking, they put part of the whiskey in a specially developed bag with wood, I think like staves or like wood chips or spirals or something in there,
Nice.
so that it would at least be in its bag. It would be like aging in wood a little bit while it was up 20 miles. And so when it came back down, they didn't do any kind of like spectrometer analysis on it, but the company stated that both the bagged whiskey and the unbagged whiskey did taste exactly alike. So not necessarily too much of a difference there. So they went ahead and dumped the bag whiskey back in the barrel for a little further aging, I think about a year afterwards. And and so now it's come time to release it. Spent a lot of time deciding what to do with it once it was time to bottle it. They were thinking about maybe we add a small amount to every batch of the upcoming whiskey so we can say a little bit of this, you know.
Yeah, you can put space in your mouth to some
putting
extent.
space in your mouth, exactly.
Stratosphere in your mouth.
They were thinking about making a whole new line, add some of every bottle, but ultimately, and I love this decision, by the way, they decided to just sell the whiskey that went into the stratosphere.
Wow.
By
so the
itself.
3 gallons or the however many gallons.
So they did 50 milliliter tubes.
Wow.
And they made 250 of them
I kind of dig that.
into this Strato whiskey release. So all of the whiskey in the 50 milliliter tube was on the journey. And I love that idea because it's like
you can put space in your mouth officially. It's not
I
like
know a higher concentration of space in your mouth. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So realizing it was only going to take up a small portion of the box and everything, they wanted to offer a little more to the experience. So it is a whole box set here, contains all the data and information on the flight in the special edition box here. It contains a rocket shaped cocktail shaker. It's kind of like
God intended.
In the shape of like a very like vintage retro rocket. It looks like stainless steel. I don't know what it's made out of, but it looks all steely, like vintage rocket style. Cool. It includes information on the flight and everything, like I said, and it includes a remove before flight tag, like they put on missiles and rockets and other things.
Do you know about that?
Yeah, I do know about that. This tag that they're sending allows you free entry into all future events, as well as discounts and deals in the company's tasting room.
How much?
How much? He's ready. He's ready. Each tube of whiskey is hand numbered, and the entire package has an MSRP of $300.
A lot.
I might do this.
You should. I mean,
so like you got to see the box if you if you have the show notes up.
Strato?
Oh no, I'm Strato with an O on the end. Strato. Okay. Anyway, I threw a bunch of pictures in the show notes too, in case you got those open. But and I love this on the webpage. They have couple little pictures and stuff. It says distilled on Earth.
Nice.
And then they say notes of celestial spice.
That is pretty cool. That little thing.
Celestial spice reminds me of Dune, by the way.
Nice. Celestial spice makes me think of celestial bodies, which makes me think of the end body problem, which makes me think of I could be a body. Anyway.
Okay, so anyway, MSRP $299. We went all over that. They got some flight information here. So if you actually care about the whiskey and you're not just going to keep this as a collector's item, 4 years, 8 months aged pre-flight, and then 1 year, 4 months after flight. So really it's about like 6+ year aged whiskey, and it went on a flight on July 15th, 2021 at 7:03 a.m.
That's cool.
From Page, Arizona. They came to Arizona to do this weather balloon experiment here to send it 20 miles up. Total flight time.
The horseshoe bend or whatever they call it.
Oh yeah, that's right. They could probably see it from there. Actually, now that you mention it, I'm looking at the picture in the box. I think it's too high up to see a horseshoe bend, actually, because it's
Probably.
real high up there. Total flight time, though, on this was 4 hours, 38 minutes. Time at apogee, which is the highest point, which is 20 miles up, was 1 hour and 34 minutes. So it reached a total height of 106,627 feet.
Wow. What's a millibar? Oh, that's a pressure.
Yeah, just like a gauge of pressure. Yeah. I did Google just because I was curious to understand.
Uh-huh.
That millibar scale is exponential. So like I
Ooh,
wanted
I'm
to
into
say like
exponential.
because it went from 1,000 millibars, 1 bar
Mm-hmm.
is atmospheric pressure down here at the
Uh-huh.
surface. Down here, us plebs down at the surface. It
Yes.
went to
Peasants.
nine millibars, which on this
Nice.
exponential scale, man, is that reduction in atmospheric pressure
You
is
talk about angel share if you could get it.
I know, right?
If it allowed it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
That's pretty cool. Especially that it
Anyway,
spent like what? Like yeah, a year and or no. How long did it spend in the
4.5
stratosphere?
hours.
Oh,
Four
that's
and a half
okay.
hours.
But still, that's
Yeah, yeah,
basically
yeah.
space in your mouth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely it is. It went up to 20 miles.
Yeah.
But anyway, they might have got me on the rocket cocktail shaker.
That
It's
is pretty
so
cool.
cute.
Cute. Yeah,
I
that's what I was
love
about
it.
to say.
Oh, you're gonna say cute?
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
It is cute. It's adorable.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I almost didn't even mention
Uh-huh.
their friggin' company logo, Mile High Spirits. Did
Uh-huh.
you see their logo? It is a whiskey barrel as a rocket. It's got like exhaust plume coming out the
Oh,
bottom of the
that's
whiskey
funny.
barrel. It's got little fins on the whiskey barrel. It's like a rocket flying over mountains, and it is absolutely my new favorite thing. So I really
Yeah.
hope they
You're a
respond to
rocket
my
man.
my media request. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I hope so.
I
Like, and
know.
we'll just, we'll rep the crap out of them, whether it's
I
good or
know.
not. I
Yep.
bet it would be
I
good.
I told him I was
In
going to
fact, it
talk
might
about
be
him here on this
overaged for a
episode.
3-gallon barrel that was aged 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, 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 sorry. I think it is possible, I'm not 100% sure, that
Uh,
for the 4 years, 8 months pre-flight, it was aged
uh-huh.
in a larger barrel to some
Okay,
extent.
cool.
That is entirely possible. I don't know, but they might have just filled up a 3-gallon barrel just for the flight, actually.
When did
So,
you reach out to these guys?
just about an hour before we started recording.
Perfect. Can't wait for the response.
I know. I'm like, I'm not sure I've ever been this like from my heart excited
Oh
to
yeah.
reach out to a company.
Um, what you should do is be like, if they say no, be like, can we at least get a rocket ship cocktail shaker?
Yeah, I know, right? Do you have any extra cocktail shakers?
Yeah.
I'll put it right here on my shelf.
Yeah. And mention the word cute within it. So
Oh, maybe I won't do that. I guess I don't know. I think it's freaking cute, but whatever.
yeah,
All right.
I
I
do
hope
too.
that's not derogatory.
No, it's not. It's cute.
All right.
It's worth
All
buying.
right. Moving on, moving on, moving
All
on.
right.
Let's what whiskey would you choose it? However,
Let's
we don't have
too
results.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, too early in the week recording here. We know we
Yeah.
don't have results. We'll double up next time. But
Yeah.
I have a question for you. And that
Okay.
question is on a whiskey night, when you're having a whiskey
hmm
night, would you prefer to go out to a bar with friends or would you prefer to have friends over to your house to drink your stash?
Um. Okay, I have an answer for this. And this is given that you have a good whiskey bar in your neighborhood. For those who want to answer online.
Yeah,
But I do have a good whiskey bar in my, city-ish metropolitan area. And I would go bar route. But I do think that's a little dependent that I don't have a lot of whiskey friends in where I live in Richmond, Virginia area. Um, because if I did have a lot of whiskey friends, I would totally invite them over. But I think I still prefer a little bit the bar route because there is a really good bar. I used to work at it. It's called McCormick's Whiskey Grill in Richmond, Virginia. I also just like getting out. I like
yeah,
the out and about scene, and
right.
that's one of the things that it would provide by going to a bar is like, hey, we're just getting out and we're just having fun as dudes, and what's better than this?
Exactly.
Guys being dudes. So That's my thing. And I have like good connections. Like, dude, I mean, we went together to McCormick's Whiskey Grill, and we were talking to Floyd, and Floyd is the dude that will set you up. And what a pro. And that's like part of it is that for me is like connecting with the people that I know and people that I'm, tight with. And one of them is Floyd and at McCormick's McCormick's Whiskey Grill in Richmond, Virginia. And he works Saturday nights in case anyone's listening from that area. So
yeah. And if you particularly like rum, go there and talk to Floyd about
Dude's
rum.
got some rum influence. Yeah. So I can say this now, but we did our the last drop episode where they sent us 2 scotches and 1 rum. And I shared the rum pour that I split with you with Floyd. And Floyd was like, "Is this a Guyanan rum?" And I'm like, "There's no way you got that right." And he's like, "Yes." And I looked it up, and it's a Guyanan rum, which was like, or at least that was the larger portion of the blend. And I was like, "Dude, you're a pro!" Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, called it, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I have my half, and I'm saving it for my buddy Josh. He's my number 1 rum friend that I have.
Which Josh? Slugafist?
Nope. Oh, no. That's Patrick. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Are you talking about Josh, though, my whiskey buddy or my drinking buddy?
Oh, actually, no, it's not even that Josh. It's another Josh.
So you have multiple friends.
Yeah. Many Joshes.
You have more than me and more than Patrick. I guess I know plenty of people. Like Bryan and Curtis. And, but anyway.
There you go. Naming all my friends. Back off, bro. Back off.
I want your friends, man.
These are my friends.
Yeah. So.
Oh, right. What would I prefer?
What would you prefer, Bryan?
I prefer the whiskey night at home. I really enjoy
friends.
Yeah, right.
Whiskey
Look at all my friends.
All my whiskey friends are where you live.
I know, right? Well, Phoenix is a bumping whiskey scene, man.
5th largest metropolitan population in the country.
That's true. You can find just about everything in Phoenix, including whiskey bros. So I do love to have whiskey bros over for whiskey nights and all. Bros. I do love having some assistance drinking what I've purchased. But anyway, that's in-house. I love selfishly, they're all watching. Selfishly, I love doing it at my house too, especially with the new baby now. So it's like, if Sam's like gets overwhelmed
and then have a hangover the next morning.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, right. But anyway, selfishly love doing it at my house too. But
that's cool.
Yeah, always a good time.
Love that. So vote this week. Would you prefer a whiskey night out or whiskey night in? This week on your What Whiskey Would You Choose Wednesday. And then we'll put it out. We'll put a personal question out. And that question will be, what is your favorite whiskey bar in your area? If you did go out.
Yeah.
So
give me more.
We'll tag them. Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll tag those whiskey bars.
Yeah, give me more bars to add to my Google Maps pins in all sorts of places all over the U.S.
Yeah. Yeah. Next time you come out here, we'll have to hit up the big whiskey grill. So you went to the little, they call it sometimes, which has about 1,000 bottles on the shelves. Technically, there's a sister location a little bit further out, and that is probably 2,500 bottles on the shelf.
Dang.
And that's you'll usually find my prior boss there.
Yeah.
His name is Mac, as in McCormick's Whiskey Grill.
Yeah.
And Mac is pretty dope too. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I was going to ask if you were talking about McCormick's actually. And wow. Okay, cool. Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah. Find all sorts of stuff.
It's not as popular because it's not in Richmond proper, but it's got a lot more whiskey. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So.
Well, I hope I make it out there sometime soon.
I too. What are we drinking next week?
Oh yeah. I hope we know what we're drinking next week. Actually, you know what? There's something on the way.
Okay.
And I really hope that it makes it here in time.
Okay.
But it is something that I would like to review ASAP because it is going to be released sometime in the near future.
Ooh.
And if any,
Pre-release.
and one way or another, I'm going to end
Uh-huh.
up with a full bottle, whether I have to pay for it myself or not.
Ooh.
So leave a YouTube comment if you can guess what I'm talking about, and if you get it right, you get a sample.
Is it
If Cole gives too good of a hint here, I'm
Jimmy John's
redacting
started making
everything that I
whiskey?
said. Yes, that's it.
It's
It's
the
Jimmy
Jimmy
John's.
John's batch proof. Batch 1. Yeah.
That's it. Yep, nailed it. I'll send you your sub
Sweet.
sandwich tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm into subs. I'm more into hoagies, but I'm into subs. Shout
You
out
would be
to
into
shout out.
hoagies.
Yeah, I would. Says the Wawa shirt guy. It all comes full
What is the
circle,
shirt?
people.
What is
That's
the
my
shirt?
Wawa shirt. It says John, which is a Philly John. And then
Oh,
but it's the Wawa logo, the vintage Wawa logo. Shout out to
d-
Bryce Marita, Sean Ciaro, and all of our Philly listeners. So
oh,
yeah.
that's what Wawa is. I
Mhm.
was like, you've talked to me about Wawa
Yeah, we
before. I
went
just
there,
can't
didn't we?
remember.
At one point, maybe.
I was gonna. Okay, I didn't want to look dumb, but is that where we got a sandwich on the way back from the
Yeah,
distillery?
probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. We did stop at a Wawa on the way back. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
As
Nice.
God intended. So I
Love
hope
it.
everyone out there can have a beautiful hoagie from Wawa.
Yeah, and
Now expanding to West Virginia. No, go
I
ahead.
hope I hear back from Mile High Spirits. I've
Dude,
never hoped for anything more in my
I know,
entire
right?
life.
Well, I know I have when it comes to Buffalo Trace Antique Collections.
Yeah.
But I hope that, yeah, hope everyone has a great week. But most of all, listeners, I hope that our love of whiskey lifted your spirits.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Back off, bro. Back off.
I want your
These are-
friends, man.
These are my friends.